Great. This is the 5 p.m. initial appearance calendar for April the 10th, 2025. The court's orders for the taking of DNA and fingerprints that were given on the first calendar of this month shall apply to all matters on this calendar.
Muy buenas tardes. Esta es la audiencia inicial del día 10 de abril del 2025. Las órdenes que se giraron por parte de la oficina del comisario de que se les tomen sus huellas dactilares y muestras de ADN que fueron dadas en la primera audiencia del mes se van a aplicar a todas las audiencias del día de hoy.
Thank you. Can we take Everardo Montesinos at the podium?
El señor Everardo Montesinos al podium, por favor.
And Richard Romero at the door, at the chair at the door. No. Everardo Montesinos at the podium.
Everardo Montesinos al podium, por favor.
And Richard Romero at the chair, in the door. Okay. Thank you. Can you please state your name?
Buenas tardes, ¿nos puede dar su nombre completo?
Everardo Navarro Montesinos.
Everardo Navarro Montesinos.
And your date of birth?
¿Y su fecha de nacimiento?
Diciembre 14 del 99.
December 14, 1999.
Now you have a warrant for your arrest.
¿Tiene una orden para su arresto?
Sí.
Yes.
And you have one count of possessing or using dangerous drugs.
Eso sí no.
Y tiene una acusación en su contra de tenencia o uso de estupefacientes.
It's a class 4 felony.
Lo cual es un delito clase 4.
It's from May 10th of 2024.
Esto es del 10 de mayo del 2024.
In possession or use of drug paraphernalia.
Y tenencia de adminículos para consumo de drogas.
As a class 6 felony.
Como un delito clase 6.
From May 10th of 2024.
De el 10 de mayo del 2024.
Sí, pero no era míos.
Yes, but those weren't mine.
Solo estaba en mi carro.
Okay.
It was in my car.
Okay. I don't want you to talk to me about the charges, okay?
Okay.
No quiero que me hable el día de hoy acerca de sus acusaciones, por favor.
Okay.
Now, I am going to appoint counsel to represent you.
¿Se le va a asignar a un abogado para que lo represente en estos casos?
Now, you have a status conference set on April the 24th at 8:30 a.m.
Usted tiene ya establecida una audiencia, una consulta de actualización para el día 24 de abril del 2025 a las 8:30 de la mañana.
And a preliminary hearing set on April the 28th at 8:30 a.m.
Y una audiencia preliminar para el 28 de abril a las 8:30 de la mañana.
Sí.
I'm going to be releasing you on your own recognizance.
Lo voy a dejar en libertad bajo palabra juramentada.
That is your promise to appear for court.
Esa es su promesa de que usted va a comparecer a todas las audiencias que tenga.
This was a direct complaint that was just sent to your home and you didn't get proper notice.
Y esta orden para su arresto se expidió porque se le envió una notificación a su domicilio de que tenía una audiencia programada y usted no se presentó a esa audiencia.
Make sure that you show up for court.
Así es que, por favor, asegúrese de presentarse a su próxima audiencia en el tribunal.
Okay. If you go to your left, you'll get your paperwork.
Sí, puede pasar a la izquierda y recoger sus documentos, por favor.
Richard Romero, oh, thank you. The interpreter, before you leave, can you please check to see if there's anybody else who needs an interpreter?
Yes, no problem, Your Honor. ¿Habrá alguna otra persona que requiera los servicios de intérprete en español?
It looks like we're fine. Thank you very much for being there for us.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a great day.
You too.
Richard Romero, please come to the podium. And Michael Castaneda Bringas, please go to the chair. Okay, thank you. Could you please state your name?
Richard Romero, 3/22/1983.
Okay. And you are being charged with 1 count of aggravated assault as a Class 3 felony, 9 counts of endangerment as a Class 6 felony, 1 count of unlawful discharging a firearm in city limits as a Class 6 felony. I did find probable cause for these charges. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m. You have a cash-only appearance bond in this case in the amount of $500,000. You are not to initiate contact with the alleged victim or victims, and that also includes the fact that if you did actually make the bond, that you are not to live at the same address as the victims. And my understanding is that you do
Yes,
live
ma'am.
with them.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct? So therefore, you'd have to find alternate residence and show proof of alternate residence at your next court date. Okay? All right. If you go to your left, you get your paperwork. Michael Castaneda Bringas, go to the podium. Gaye Boyce, please go to the chair. Hello, could you please state your full name?
Michael Castañeda Bringas.
All right, and you also have Fernando in there?
Fernando is my middle. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure we have it correct. Okay, and so I have Michael Fernando Castaneda Bringas?
August
Your date of
1990.
All right. And you have charged with 1 count of aggravated assault as a Class 3 felony, 1 count of possessing a weapon by prohibited person as a Class 4 felony, 1 count of threatening or intimidating, and therefore that's a Class 1 misdemeanor. I did find probable cause for these charges. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to be setting a secured appearance bond in this case in the amount of $50,000. Also, if you are to be released, you are to be released under pretrial services supervision with electronic monitoring to be installed before you're to be released, and curfew to be determined by a pretrial services officer. Okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor.
And then also, do not return to the scene of the alleged crime. Do not initiate contact with either of the alleged victims. Do not have any physical contact with the alleged victims. Do not have any contact with any complainant or witnesses. Do not possess any weapons. You need to make sure that you do not have any weapons. Do not possess any, and do not possess or consume any alcohol while this case is pending.
Okay.
All right? So you go to your left to get your paperwork.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gaye Boyce, please go to the podium. Matthew Dillon, please go to the chair. Hello, could you please state your full name?
Gage Boyce.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mispronounce your name.
It's okay. It happens.
Yeah, you never know. All right, and your date of birth?
It's going to be 1/30/2003.
All right. Now, you are being charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct with a weapon or instrument as a Class 6 felony. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30, and I set a secured appearance bond in the amount of $25,000. You are not to initiate contact with the alleged victim or victims. You're not to have any physical contact with the victim. Do not possess any weapons, possess any drugs without a valid prescription. And that's essentially it. So if you go to your left, you'll get your paperwork.
Okay,
Make sure
thank
you show
you.
up for court. Matthew Dillon, please go to the podium. Michael Navarro, please go to the chair. Hello.
Hello.
Now, sir, let me get to, hold on, I think I missed somebody. Matthew Dillon was supposed to be next.
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, good. We got Matthew next. And then Matthew Navarro is supposed to be going to the chair. I'm sorry, Matthew Dillon, you're here. Michael Navarro is to the chair.
Yes.
Okay. I'm the one that's all messed up. Okay. So could you please state your name so I can make sure that I have the right person to the right thing? I know I have the right picture. The right person.
Matthew Dillon.
Okay, and your middle initial is J?
J.
Okay, and your date of birth?
2491.
All right. Now you are being charged with 1 count of unlawful flight from a law enforcement vehicle as a Class 5 felony, and 1 count of criminal trespassing is a first degree as a Class 6 felony. I did find that there was probable cause for these charges. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. And you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $2,500. Do not return to the scene of the alleged crime. Obviously, I know that a lot of that was highway. What I'm talking about is the residence.
Yes.
Do not go back to the residence. Do not initiate contact with the alleged victims, and that's also, well, whoever owns the vehicle, but also the residents. Do not initiate any contact with the alleged complainant or witnesses or the officers. If you go to the left, you'll get your paperwork.
Ma'am, is there any way we could change the bond, ma'am?
I'm not changing the bond. In fact, I will tell you, I actually had a much higher bond, and then the county attorney recommended this amount, and I lowered it.
How much is it?
It's $2,500. I actually had, like I said, I actually had a higher bond in mind, and I changed it.
Because I really don't get in trouble like that. And
Okay, well, I will tell you right now, I don't want to talk about the incident, but yeah, I actually lowered it.
Thank you.
Michael Navarro, please come to the podium. Stephen Davis, please go to the chair. Okay, Mr. Navarro, I have 3 cases for you today. Could you please state your full name?
Yes, Michael Anthony Navarro.
All right, and let me just double check. Yes, we have, that is your name for all 3 of these. And what is your date of birth?
8/13/84.
And that is the same date of birth on all 3 of them. Let's go to the first case, which is number 21 on the docket. It is the fact that you failed to show up for court. And so therefore they issued a warrant for your arrest. So you are, and in this case, you're being, number 1 on the docket, you're being charged with 1 count of possessing a narcotic drug for sale as a Class 2 felony, and 1 count of possessing a narcotic drug for just personal use as a Class 4 felony. You have existing counsel. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. You have a cash-only appearance bond in the amount of $750.
Okay.
On your next case, you have a warrant out of West Mesa Justice Court. That is an assault. And if you remain in custody, you'll be appointed counsel at the next hearing. You have an arraignment set on April the 15th at 8:30 a.m. And you have a secured appearance bond in that case for the amount of $500.
Okay.
On your next case, number 23 on the docket, you have you have a Superior Court arrest warrant. And this one, I am appointing, you are being charged with possessing or using a narcotic drug as a Class 4 felony. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And I'm affirming the warrant, which is a security appearance bond in the amount of $3,500.
Okay.
All right. You just go to the left.
So it's the 35 and the 750 for here?
3,500, 750 are Superior Court.
And then 500 for Mesa?
Yeah, let me just double check what that one was. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, and it'll all be on your paperwork.
Okay,
So you can just double check. Stephen Davis, please go to the podium. Hayden Wilson, please go to the chair. Hello, could you please state your full name?
Stephen Michael Davis, second,
Okay, and your date of birth?
1981.
And you have a warrant for failing to appear for sentencing, and your warrant was for $2,500. So let's see, you're being charged with 1 count of possessing a weapon by a prohibited person as a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of possessing drug paraphernalia as a Class 1 misdemeanor. You have existing counsel. You have a status conference set on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m., and you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $2,500. Okay, so you just go to your left to get your paperwork. Hayden Wilson, please go to the podium. Jericho Wright, please go to the chair. All right, sir, can you please state your full name?
Hayden Ryan Lerman Wilson.
Okay, could you please? I can't hear you very well.
Hayden Ryan Lerman Wilson.
Okay, I hear, and that was the same name for both cases, and your date of birth?
10/16/2001.
And that is also the date of birth on both cases. So on number 14 on the docket, you have a warrant for violating your probation. I'm appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation hearing set on April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. You have a secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $250. If you are to be released, be sure to contact your probation officer within 72 hours. On your next case, again, same name and date of birth. This is for 1 count of, this is because you have a warrant for failing to show up for a status conference.
Yeah, I was in rehab when that happened.
Okay, well, you have a warrant for failing to show up. And you have your next court date will be a status conference on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. And you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $2,500. And because this is for unlawful means of transportation, there is a victim involved in this case, so I made sure for you not to have any contact with the alleged victim. All right, so you just go to your left to get your paperwork. Jericho Wright, go to the podium. Angelica Morales, please go to the chair. Okay. Hello. Can you please, let me just quickly. Can you please state your full name?
Jericho James Wright.
Okay, now, sir, you have 3 cases before me today, number 9, 10, and 11 on the docket, and they all have the same name and date of birth. And so you just said, could you say your name again?
Yeah, Jericho James Wright.
All right, and your date of birth?
5/3/98.
And that is the name and date of birth on all 3 of them. So number 9 on the docket is a warrant for violating your probation. I am going to be appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation hearing set on April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. And you have a secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $100. Number 10 on the docket, same name and date of birth. It is a warrant out of Country Meadows Justice Court. It is for 1 count of disorderly conduct as a Class 1 misdemeanor. If you remain in custody, you'll be appointed counsel at your next hearing. You have an arraignment set on April the 15th at 8:30 a.m. and you have a secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $545. On the next case, it is a warrant for violating probation. I am appointing counsel to represent you, and you have a probation revocation hearing in that case on April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. and you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $750. Go to your left to get your paperwork. Angelica Morales, please go to the podium. And Bradley Bryant, please go to the chair. Okay, can you please state your full name?
Angelica Morales.
Angelica?
Yeah.
Okay, and then your date of birth?
10/12/2005.
Thank you, that is what I have. And you have a warrant for violating probation. I'm going to be appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation arraignment hearing set on April the 17th at 8:30, that could end up being a disposition at that time. You have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500. If you are released, be sure to contact your probation officer within 72 hours. And Bryant Bradley, please come to the podium, and Christopher Caldwell, please go to the chair. Hello, could you please state your full name?
Bradley Bryant.
Okay, I need you to speak up.
Bradley Bryant.
Okay, you really need to speak up a little louder.
Bradley Bryant.
Okay, did you say Bradley William Bryant?
Bradley William Bryant.
Okay, and your date of birth?
September 17, 2002.
All right. And now you have a warrant out of Peoria Municipal Court. It is for one count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a Class 1 misdemeanor and one count of prohibited conduct occupying a prohibited area as in the first degree as Class 1 misdemeanor. You know what? I think I need to edit this where if you're remaining, am I releasing you? No, you have a caution on. I need to just put down that if you remain in custody, that you'll have counsel. Okay, so the warrant is a cash-only appearance bond in the amount of $2,500. I'm affirming that bond. So if you remain in custody, you'll get counsel. So I just re-signed that. Okay. Oh, and here, actually, it's transit prohibited conduct. So if you are to remain in custody, you'll be able to get counsel at that next hearing. If you just go to your left, look at your paperwork. Oh, actually, they need to reprint it. But if you go to your left, you will be getting it. Oh, hold on. Mr. Bryant, you only have one case. Okay. Christopher Caldwell, please go to the podium. And Madison Bennett, please go to the chair. Hello.
Hello.
Okay. And you have two cases before me today. Could you please state your full name?
Yes, Christopher Ryan Caldwell.
All right, and it is the same name on both cases. And your date of birth, please?
December 16th, 1988.
Yes, and that is the same date of birth on both cases. Number 27 on the docket, it is one count of damaging criminal damage as a Class 6 felony. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m. I'm setting a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500. In your other case, it is a warrant for violating probation, essentially because you've got a new case.
Yeah.
They are page 2ing you. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation hearing set on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. and it is also a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500.
All right.
Okay, just go to your left. And then also, because you're on probation, contact your probation officer within 72 hours. You get released.
Oh.
Yeah. Madison Bennett, please go to the podium. And Lance Coinba, please go to the chair. Hello. And sir, now you have two cases before me today. Could you please state your full name?
Madison Aaron Bennett.
And your date of birth?
12/27/84.
Yes, and that is the same name and date of birth that I have for both cases. They're 28 and 29 on the docket. I'm taking 28 first. That is a warrant for violating probation. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation hearing set on April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. And I'm setting a secured appearance bond in the amount of $750. If you do get released, be sure to contact your probation officer within 72 hours. On your next case, it is also for a warrant for violating your probation. And I'm appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation hearing set on the same date and time, April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. And it is the same amount of bond, $750 as a secured appearance bond. Okay? You just go to the left, we'll get your paperwork. Lance Coinlaw, please go to the podium. In Rosanna Alcazar, please go to the chair.
Hello.
Hello. Could you please state your name?
Lance Coinwa,
And your date of birth, please.
May 15, 2003.
Thank you. You have a warrant out of El Centro Justice Court. It is for 1 count of extreme DUI as a BAC from .15 to a .20 as a class 1 misdemeanor. I'm not appointing counsel at this time.
What was so they sent me a warrant for what?
For the DUI.
But I ended up doing everything for I paid my fines. I even got my breathalyzer and my license. So I don't understand what that warrant is for.
Let me take a look again. They have said they're saying that you haven't completed something.
I did traffic survival school and everything. I even ended up going to the MVD to get my license.
So you're saying you've paid your fines, you're saying?
I paid my
They're saying you
fines.
haven't paid your fines.
Yeah, it was like 2 point something. And then I also, I ended up getting my breathalyzer and all that.
So to the court, you paid, because I mean, it's obviously
It's like 2.7K or something like that.
$1,000, you mean?
That's what I paid, yeah.
Okay.
And then, so I don't understand what that warrant was for. And I never got anything in the mail telling me another court date either.
Okay. What I will do is, okay, I'm going to edit this. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance since you actually saying that you actually did do the counseling, right?
Yeah, I
And
did. I did the screening and also the traffic survival school.
And the ignition interlock device?
I have the interlock.
Okay, I'm going to go with the fact that since you've done all of those things, I'm going to actually release you on your own recognizance to let you go to the court. Be sure to take all your documentation.
Okay.
So bring your receipts. Bring everything.
I have all my receipts. I have everything.
Take everything to the court with you, okay?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Your court date, so you don't have, I'm not appointing counsel. You have court on April the 14th at 8:30 a.m.
April the 14th? Okay. Is there, am I going to get like...
Oh, hold on. Since I'm actually releasing you on your own recognizance, let's see if that changes anything. Oh.
So what is the warrant for?
It says for failure to pay.
That's crazy, I paid.
Or it could be, or failure to complete something. So it could be the fact that they're saying that you didn't complete your classes, or something of that nature.
But wouldn't I not be able to get my license if I didn't complete
Not necessarily, no. One hand doesn't necessarily know what the other hand is doing.
Yeah, because in the... Okay, sure.
The Department of Motor Vehicles and the courts do not necessarily always have the same system, okay?
Yeah.
So honestly, they each could be separate. So NVD could say like everything's fine, and our courts could say it isn't.
Yeah.
Although if there's a warrant outstanding, NVD is going to suspend your license.
Yeah. So then, how was I able to get the license if I had a?
Okay. Go to
See,
court.
that's what I don't understand.
Okay, I will just tell you. I can't give you legal advice. So go to court.
Okay.
Show everything to the court.
Yes, ma'am.
And then also make sure then that your license is okay as well.
Okay.
Because with the warrant, it could have affected your license.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that your license is okay as well.
All right.
Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
But I need to change the paperwork because right now, I have it as a $500 bond. So I'm changing it. But I've been talking to you, so I haven't done the paperwork. There. So my clerk's probably mad. There. I've signed it. It should be fixed now. Okay, there. All right, but take all of your documents.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so if you go to the left, you'll get that.
All right, cool.
Rosanna Alcacer, please go to the podium. And can you please state your name? Oh, and I'm sorry, Shamika Scott, please go to the chair.
Rosanna Alcacer,
Thank you, and your date of birth.
10/16/1987.
Now, you have a warrant out of Peoria Municipal Court. It is for 1 count of assault as a class 1 misdemeanor and 1 count of disorderly conduct as a misdemeanor. If you remain in custody, you'll be appointed counsel at your next hearing. You have an arraignment set on April the 15th at 9 a.m., and it is for a cash-only appearance bond in the amount of $250. Now, since it has a victim, I couldn't, and I didn't, and since there was a warrant, I could not tell if you lived with the victim or not. So I did put in the fact, though, that if you do reside with that victim, that you are not to reside at the same location, and that you must find alternate residence and provide that proof to the court at of the new address at your next court date. The information is on your paperwork, but you can take a 1 civil standby with law enforcement is permitted to collect your belongings.
Okay, so am I being released? Or?
No, you have a cash-only bond in the amount of $250.
Okay, so if that's paid, then I can be released?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I put in a motion for the court once I found out, because I didn't know I had missed a court date because I was going through a hardship at the time. Okay. But I did put in a motion, and they told me to come in either Monday or Tuesday to
Okay, well, that hasn't been changed. I'm not changing a cash-only appearance bond.
Okay. All right, thank you. And you said my court date's when?
It is for April the 15th. So and it'll be on your paperwork.
Okay, so I would have to stay here until April 15th?
Unless you can make the bond, and if you can't, you'll be transported to court.
Okay, how, on the day of the 15th?
For court, yes.
Okay, is there any way, all right, because I have children, I need to figure this out, so.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And Shamika Michelle Scott, please come to the podium. Robert Sina, please go to the chair. Hello, could you please state your full name?
Scott, Shamika Scott.
Okay, and your date of birth?
4/3/85.
All right, now you are being charged with 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a class 6 felony. I did find that there was probable cause for that charge. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 24th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April the 28th at 8:30 a.m. I am going to be releasing you on your own recognizance.
Right.
Okay. So if you just go to your left, you'll get your paperwork. Robert Sina, please come to the podium. Hello, sir. Could you please state your name?
Robert Bradley Senna, 73198.
All right, now you're being charged with 1 count of possessing or using dangerous drugs as a class 4 felony and 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a class 6 felony. I'm appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 24th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing set on April the 28th at 8:30. Yeah, I did appoint counsel, okay. I am going to be releasing you on pretrial services. So you're going to be getting like an envelope, and so you need to contact them when you're released to be able to make sure that you have contact with them so they can supervise you. but you'll be able to be released. Okay? So, just make sure that you show up for court.
All right.
As long as you as long as you keep showing up for court, you'll be okay.
All right.
And keep in contact with your court, keep in contact with your attorney.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. And Daryl Early, please come to the podium. And Raymond Lopez Castillo, please go to the chair. All right, and could you please state your full name?
Daryl Hannah Early,
And your date of birth?
6/10/87.
All right, now you are being charged with one case out of, well, actually, for Superior Court. So it's one count of aggravated DUI, with your license being suspended as a Class 4 felony. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 24th at 8:30, and a preliminary hearing set on April the 28th at 8:30. And I am going to be releasing you on your own recognizance. Okay, do not, there was accidents involved in this case. You are not to initiate contact with the alleged victims. You are not to initiate contact with any complainant or witnesses. All right?
Understood.
Okay, just go to your left. All right. All right, so I want to make sure that everybody leaves before I do it anymore. And say what? Yes, they're going to be done. Let me just check on which one, the Sparrow.
I think we have a free night.
Sparrow is one of the house calls. And Pettiford is also a house call. Correct?
I got it right, she's in here now.
Yeah, I'll have to do that person as a...
I've got Pettiford and Sparrow.
Hold on.
Hey, brother.
Which one?
Is that everybody done?
No. Pettiford I need to do, I'll do next. Hold on. Actually, I have...
So the next three are...
Next three are the...
I have,
Hold on.
Miss Sparrow, I think it's out there.
Hold on.
I have her here.
Oh, you have her here? Okay.
Mr. Petticoat here.
Okay, Joaquin?
And then the three knocks, whatever again.
Remember we had Sarah Second. Not the Sparrow, though. Hold on, I thought Sparrow was a house call. Sparrow was a house call.
Sparrow was in here.
But they have Sparrow here. Okay, well, they called her as a house call, so, but she's here now, let's do Sparrow and then do the others. Okay, so let's do Sparrow and then, yeah, let's do Sparrow and then we'll do the others.
Okay. Sparrow?
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sparrow. I have two cases here for you. Could you please state your name?
Alexandria Ann Sparrow, 10/8/87.
Thank you, and that is the same name and date of birth on both cases. So let me just take the new case first, or like the new charges. So you are being, so basically number 33 and number 35 on the docket. I'm taking number 33 first. And could you please state your name again?
Alexandria Ann Sparrow.
And your date of birth?
10/8/87.
Thank you. And you're being charged with 1 count of taking the identity of another as a Class 4 felony, 1 count of possessing or using a narcotic drug as a Class 4 felony, 1 count of controlling a credit card theft as a Class 5 felony, 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a Class 6 felony. I did find probable cause for these charges. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. I'm setting a secured appearance bond in this case in the amount of $2,500. You are not to initiate contact with the alleged victim or victims. On the next case, you have, which is number 35 on the docket, as I said, the same name and date of birth. You have a warrant for violating your probation, and I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation arraignment hearing, probation revocation arraignment, possible disposition set on April the 17th at 8:30, and you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $350. If you do get released, be sure to contact your probation officer within 72 hours. Okay? So if you just go to the left, you'll get your paperwork.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we have just 3 more and then house calls, correct? Okay. All right. So just tell me when you're ready for me to do the. Is there what? Yes, we have Pettiford. We have, well, we actually have Raymond Lopez Castillo and then Douglas Cressy, plus Pettiford.
We have Pettiford here, so.
Right. Don't you also have Cressy and Lopez Castillo?
Yeah, we have 3 narcotics.
Okay, I couldn't.
We have 3 knocks.
I have 4.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm still having trouble hearing. Could you come up maybe over here and talk to my clerk as well? To make sure that we're all in sync.
So we have 4. We have 4. We have 17, 18, 36, and 5 are all marked as 1.
Yeah, for which one is that?
So it's Lopez, Cressy, Pettiford, and Harrison.
Pettiford for last knock.
Yes.
Okay. That doesn't indicate in this card. Okay. We have, not to remove the other one with Sparrow from there.
Yeah, I understand. So then we can take care of that one.
Come back and then do the other knock.
Just let us know as soon as you're ready.
Perfect. Great, thank you.
Everybody's so good on time. Yeah. Well, at least they got one of them up to us. Check cases.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Can we step up for a moment and just move her out here?
Oh, absolutely. I understand. Oh, could I just start putting the house calls on the docket, on the record? Okay, so let's see. So which ones are,
So number 1 from Wheelan, that one just we got notified that it's an NAS one.
I'm just going to say behavioral issues. So, so on the record number, we're on the record? Okay. So number 1, 2, 24, 25, 26, number 31 and 32 are all house calls. I was told that there are behavioral issues. So number 1 is Ryland Joseph Whalen, date of birth, July 14th, 2005, has a warrant for failing to show up for a status conference. He has 1 count of possessing or using dangerous drugs as a Class 4 felony, 1 count of possessing a narcotic drug as a Class 4 felony. I'm appointing counsel to represent him. He has a status conference set on April the 21st at 8:30 a.m. I am setting the secured appearance bond. I'm affirming it in the amount of $250. Number 2, the next case is Christina Marie Lewis, again, behavioral issues, with a date of birth of June 1st, 1982. She has a warrant out of Hacienda Justice Court, and her case is 1 count of assault causing fear of physical injury as a misdemeanor. If she remains in custody, she will be appointed counsel at her next hearing. She has an arraignment set on April the 14th at 8:30 a.m., and I'm affirming her bond in the amount of $100. I just realized I did not state not to have any contact with the victim in this case. I'm going to put down not to initiate contact. I'm editing that. On Lewis. I'm re-signing it right now. On number 24, she's not being brought into court because of behavioral issues. Her name is Belle Reina Quintana. Date of birth, January the 13th, 1991. She has a warrant for violating probation. She has existing counsel. She has a probation revocation hearing set on April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. She has a secured appearance bond in the amount of $2,500. I'm affirming that bond. On number 25, she has a warrant. Oh, no, she has her name is Belle Reina Quintana, same date of birth, January the 13th, 1991. She has a new case out of Youngstown Municipal Court, 1 count of obstructing and refusing to give her true name as a Class 2 misdemeanor, and 1 count of criminal trespassing in the 3rd degree as a Class 3 misdemeanor. I did find probable cause for these charges. If she remains in custody, she is to be appointed counsel at her next hearing. She has an arraignment set on April the 17th at 9 a.m., and I set a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500. Number 26 on the docket is, again, her name is Belle Reina Quintana with a date of birth of January the 13th, 1991, and she has a warrant for failing to show up for court. And she has won, and I believe that was actually for sentencing. Yes, she failed to show up for sentencing, and she has a warrant in the amount of $5,000, which I affirmed. So she has 1 count of, and she's facing 1 count of aggravated assault on a correction employee as a Class 5 felony. She has existing counsel. She has a status conference set on April the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. As I said, I affirmed the bond in the amount of $5,000. The next individual who has a house call is on the docket number 31. His name is Dominic Donnell Stone, date of birth November the 9th, 1987. He is being charged with 1 count of possessing or using a dangerous drug as a Class 4 felony, 1 count of possessing or using a narcotic drug as a Class 4 felony, 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a Class 6 felony. I did find probable cause for these charges. I am appointing counsel to represent him. He has a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. I am setting a secured appearance bond in $500. On his next case, he has a warrant for violating probation. I'm appointing counsel to represent him. He has the probation revocation hearings set on April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. He has a secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $250. If anything changes, I will come back after the house calls to put them on the record. Okay. Yeah, I just need to clean my glasses. They're getting blurry. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Then if we could take the next three, I would still like to have the door closed during each one of them.
Who do you want first, then?
Let's just take Raymond Lopez Castillo.
Lopez Castillo. Oh, sorry.
And then we'll have Douglas Cressy. We can just keep them all, they're all just
Where
separate.
do I go, ma'am? Right here?
Just at the podium, please. Okay, let me put my glasses on. Hello.
Hi.
And can you please state your full name?
My name is Raymond Lopez Castillo,
Thank you. Your date of birth?
January 2nd, 1987.
Thank you. You are being charged with one count of child sex trafficking with a minor from 15 to 17 years of age as a Class 2 felony. I am appointing counsel to represent you. I did find that there was probable cause for these charges, and you have a status well, actually, first I should say I found probable cause for the charges, and then I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m., and you have a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m. I am setting a secured appearance bond in the amount of $150,000.
What was that?
I am setting a secured appearance bond in the amount of $150,000. Also, you are not to have any contact with minors, and that is to include no exceptions. That includes your daughter. You are prohibited also from accessing the internet through any electronic means, with the exception of work or school. Okay. And if you go to your left, you'll get your paperwork.
Okay, there's no way I could lower my bail?
I'm not lowering it, not at this time. It can maybe even modified later on during your pendency of your case.
So my court's in 2 months?
No, if your court date is set for, your next court date is April the 16th. Today is April the 10th, so that's 6 days away.
Okay.
And then your next court date is April 18th.
So 16th and the 18th?
Right. Okay, so 6 days away and 8 days away. Okay? No, not 2 months away.
No, I was like,
No.
Because, oh man, 6 days, I'm still going to lose my job.
Well, at this moment, that's what I'm set. Okay? All right. Wish you well.
Thanks, ma'am.
Douglas Cressy, please come to the podium. Thank you, sir. Could you please state your full name?
Douglas Michael Cressy,
And your date of birth, please?
5/14 of 46.
Thank you. Now, you are being charged with one count of child sex trafficking with a minor from 15 to 17 years of age as a Class 2 felony, and one count of possessing a dangerous drug as a Class 4 felony. I did find that probable cause was for those charges. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30. I am setting a secured appearance bond in the amount of $150,000. Okay, and then also you are not to have any contact with minors. You are also not to possess, you are prohibited from accessing the internet through any electronic means, except for work or school. Okay? And if you go to your left, you'll get your paperwork. And then if I could have Mr. Pettiford next.
Wait on him for last, is that right?
I'm sorry, what?
We wait Mr. Pettiford for last?
Yes. Well, he has several cases.
Here, we'll just, I have him on the other room. Do we have Harrison coming in first?
Oh, who's Harrison? Oh, sure, you can do Harrison next.
Harrison?
Okay, Mr. Harrison. And then could you please state your full name?
Cody Chase Harrison,
All right. And could you give me your date of birth?
August 16th, 1989.
All right. Now you are being charged with 1 count of child sex trafficking with a minor from...
Can I?
No, I do not want you to talk to me about the charges. Because whatever you tell me is, well, first of all, you have the right to remain silent, and we are being, things are being recorded. So it's better for you just not to say anything. I'm going to be appointing counsel to help you on your case. So I think that's probably the best thing for you to do.
But I have proof that I didn't do anything
Okay, I will
wrong.
tell you right now, I'm not going to, nothing you tell me at this moment will help you, okay? So I am appointing counsel to, I did find probable cause that for these charges. I am going to be appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m. You will be able to have a trial. You are not being charged guilty at this point. Today is probable cause.
But there's no probable cause when it's plain and simple in the text messages.
I have found probable cause at this moment, and I am setting a secured appearance bond in this case in the amount of $150,000. The county actually wanted cash. I am setting a secured appearance bond, which will allow you to be able to use a bonding company. You are not to have contact with minors. You are also prohibited from accessing the internet through any electronic means with the exception of work or school. And I believe you actually are on probation, is that correct?
Yep.
Then you are to contact your probation officers within 72 hours from release if you are able to be released.
I done tried.
Okay. All right, so you just go to your left, you'll get your paperwork. Hello, are you Mr. Pettigrew? Please just come to the podium. Now, I have 6 cases before me today. Can you please state your name?
Martinez Petty 42293.
Okay, and that is the same name and date of birth in all of the cases. And they are number 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41 on the docket. I'm going to take number 36 first. State the name that it is your name and date of birth. It is a warrant out of the grand jury, and it is for 2 counts of aggravated DUI as a class 4 felony. I am appointed, and the grand jury decided that there was probable cause. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have an arraignment set on April the 17th at 8:30 a.m. Now, because you were on felony release at the time that this incident happened, that you have an evidentiary hearing set on April the 17th at 1:30 p.m. on April the 17th. So, because I need to hold you without bond, because you were released, you were on felony release at the time. So that's why we need it, because if you were on felony release, you have to be held without bond. So that's why, even though actually on these other charges, I actually have set bond amounts, on this case, you're going to be held without bond. So you really don't want to make bonds on the other cases. Okay, so that's what we're doing on this case. On the next case, number 37, you failed to appear. So you had a warrant for failing to appear for court. And on this case, you were being charged with 1 count of possessing a forged instrument. It's a Class 4 felony. I am reappointing counsel. You have a status conference set on April the 18th at 8:30, and it's a bond in the amount of $1,000. On the next case, it is again same date, name and date of birth, a warrant for failing to show up. And on that case, you're being charged with taking the identity of another as a Class 4 felony. Again, I'm reappointing counsel to represent you. In a status conference set on April 18th at 8:30.
Is the counsel Kenneth Countryman still on there?
I'm sorry, what?
Is the counsel Kenneth Countryman still on there?
I believe that I do think that it's probably close enough for him to be the same attorney to be able to represent you, but just in case, I wanted to make sure that you were covered.
Okay. I already paid for him.
Oh, you paid him?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, he's private counsel. I did not realize that. I do not know what your situation is with him.
No, it wasn't no situation.
No, I meant you hired him.
Yes, ma'am.
So I do not know if your representation agreement,
okay,
like I do not know if your representation agreement is where he's going to be. Right now, I'm appointing public defender for you. If you contact Mr. Countryman and he knows that he's still representing you, then like if you paid him and he's still planning on representing you, then great.
Okay.
If he's saying, hey, no, you didn't show up and therefore I've already fulfilled my obligations to you,
yes,
then you are covered.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So I do not know. I just want to make sure that you have someone there.
Okay.
But actually, you know what? Then I do not know if so you were considering yourself already have Mr. Countryman as your attorney?
I just got to reach out to him. I had my mom text him today, but it's only been 30 days for us.
It has? Okay, well then
I just missed that one court date.
Okay, then I will edit these and take off the counsel. What about let me just go back.
But the new case, I don't know if he's going to represent me, so
on the new case, you want me to make sure that I get public defender, or are you going to be able to hire other counsel?
But what I do want to say is all the same prosecutor, so I'm pretty sure she's going to make it all the same and the same thing.
But for the new case, we will have, for the one with the grand jury, I will do a new counsel. I'll do a public defender. And for everything else that you have existing counsel, I honestly, for some reason, I know that he used to have a contract with the court. So I thought he was maybe a court-appointed attorney.
No, he actually told me she was bringing another case. That's why so I really don't need that, a court-appointed lawyer.
Oh, no. I mean, he's a fabulous attorney. So I can easily see, so I know he has a private.
Yeah, so I want to stay with Countryman.
So you want to, okay, so I will just not appoint counsel for you on everything but the new case.
Okay.
You have to, obviously, if you want to hire him for the new case, you can definitely do so.
No, I already did.
Oh, you already did?
Yeah.
Okay, then I just won't appoint counsel at all on any of them. I'll just put down that you're not indigent.
Thank you so much.
No, absolutely.
Would I have a probation here or anything?
Yes. Let me just fix these real quick so that we can reprint out the paperwork, and then I can.
Ready for it.
Okay, I am not sure if I have. and I have that, you have existing counsel there. There. I wrote down that you were not indigent or that you had existing counsel. So you should be set.
Okay.
All right, so let's just go back real quickly so that we can just make sure that we have everything. On the one case, the new case is a grand jury warrant. That is for the ag DUI, 2 counts of ag DUI as a class 4 felony. And that is where you are going to you're going to be held non-bondable, and you have hired Mr. Countryman as your attorney. Okay, that is you are set for April 17th at 8:30 a.m. for an arraignment in an evidentiary hearing. On your next case, it is a warrant for not showing up for court, and it is 1 count of forgery as a class 4 felony, and you have existing counsel. You have a status conference set on April the 18th at 8:30. And you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000. On the next case, you have a warrant for not showing up, and it's a 1 count is taking the identity of another for a class 4 felony, and you have existing counsel. You have a status conference set again on April the 18th at 8:30 a.m. with a secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000. On the next one, it is a warrant for failing to show up. You have 1 count of fraudulent schemes as a class 2 felony, 1 count of theft as a class 4 felony, 1 count of taking the identity of another as a class 4 felony. And you have counsel. You have a status conference set on April the 18th at 8:30, and you have a secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $5,000. On your next case, it is a warrant for not showing up for court, and that was for a status conference, and they set a bond in the amount of $5,000. This was for 2 counts of ag DUI with a suspended license as a class 4 felony and 1 count of indecent exposure as a misdemeanor. You have existing counsel, and you have as I said, secured appearance bond in the amount of $5,000. In your last case before me, you have also again failed to show up for court, and you have a warrant in that case in the amount of which you failed to show up for a non-witness violation hearing, and you had a warrant in the amount of $1,000, which I affirmed. Okay?
Yeah.
All the paperwork is going to be to your left.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yes, we move off the record.
Hello. So yeah, just have her read it. There's no audio. It wasn't my fault, it was a technical error. It'll be up to her, but she could if she wants to.
Is it still recording or not yet?
It's recording now, yes. All right.
Thank you. You may sit down. Do I need to restate the?
This is the first one into the record, not to call that.
Okay. Should I read this part back? Also the fact that this is today's date and everything is stuck on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me. Okay. Just for everybody's information, what I've already done wasn't read into, it couldn't be heard on the record. So I'm just going to sort of go over everything. So this is the 8 p.m. initial appearance calendar for April 10th, 2005. The court's orders for the taking of the DNA and fingerprints that were given on the first calendar of this month shall apply to all matters on this calendar. And Ms. Grisham, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I am just going to read the other person who was before you. I'm going to just read what I did on his cases, and then I will go to your case, okay?
Okay.
So, earlier I did number 1. What number 1 through number 6 is Angel Rodolfo Velarde Favela, date of birth August 21, 2000. He has a warrant for failing to appear for court for 1 count of possessing or using a dangerous drug as a class 4 felony. I appointed counsel to represent him. He has the probation revocation hearings on April 17th at 8:30. He has a secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000. On his second case, he also has a warrant for failing to show up for court for 1 count of possessing or using a drug paraphernalia as a class 6 felony. I reappointed counsel. Again, he has probation revocation hearing on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. with a secured appearance bond in the amount of $250. In his third case, it is for new charges, same name and date of birth. He has 1 count of possessing or using a dangerous drug as a class 4 felony, 1 count of possessing or using a narcotic drug as a class 4 felony, 1 count of refusing to give his true name as a class 2 misdemeanor. I did find probable cause for these charges. I did appoint the Public Defense Services to represent him, and I believe I said that I did find probable cause for these charges. He has a status conference set on April the 16th at 8:30 a.m. He has a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. And because I did find that he was on felony release at the time of this offense, I am setting an evidentiary hearing on April 17th at 1:30 p.m. and holding him without bond. On his fourth case, same name, date of birth, he has a warrant for failing to show up for court for 1 count of possessing or using a narcotic drug as a class 4 felony. I'm reappointing counsel. He has the probation revocation hearings on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. He has a secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000. On his fifth case, it's, again, same name and date of birth. He has a warrant for failing to show up for court for 1 count of possessing burglary tools as a class 6 felony. I'm reappointing counsel. He has probation revocation hearings set on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. and a set secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000. And on his last case, again, same name, date of birth, and he has a warrant for failing to show up for court, and he has and that was for 1 count of possessing or using dangerous drugs as a class 4 felony, 1 count of possessing or using narcotic drug as a class 4 felony, 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a class 6 felony. I reappointed counsel to represent him, and he has a status conference set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. and a secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $1,000. And so now we can go to the person in front of me, who has 2 cases, number 24 and number 25 on the docket before me. And so can you please state your name again?
Tabitha Grisham.
And you have a date of birth?
10/20/1980.
All right, thank you. And so you have a warrant for violating your probation on number 24 on the docket. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a disposition hearing set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $100. On your next case, you have a warrant, an arrest warrant for 1 count of possessing or using dangerous drugs as a class 4 felony and 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a class 6 felony. It states that you have existing counsel. You have a status conference post-warrant set for April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $5,000.
So that means I'm not going to be able to get out today?
As long as if you can make bonds, then you can get released. Okay?
How would I go about doing that?
You work with a bonding company and they get detention officers can
even if I'm homeless?
Say what?
Even if I'm homeless?
Well, if you're homeless, then probably not, no.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, if I can have Jose Tez Valenzuela come to the podium and Christian Behar, please go to the chair.
Jose Tez Valenzuela.
Christian Behar, please go to the chair. 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 Christian Behar, please go Okay. And, sir, you have 3 cases before me today. Could you please state your name?
Jose Omar Tellez Valenzuela.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat that?
Jose Omar Tellez Valenzuela.
Thank you. And your date of birth?
6/14/1973.
Thank you. And I do have your name and date of birth on these 3 cases. So let's just take number 7, 8, and 9 on the docket. Let's take number 7 first. You have a warrant out of Agua Fria Justice Court. It's for driving with a license and a suspended, revoked, canceled license. It's a Class 1 misdemeanor. If you remain in custody, you'll be appointed counsel at your next hearing. You have an arraignment set on April 14th at 8:30 a.m., and it is a cash-only appearance bond in the amount of $1,228. I'm affirming that bond. On your next case, it is a warrant out of Justice Court for South Mountain Justice Court. That charge is 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a Class 1 misdemeanor. If you remain in custody, you'll be appointed counsel at that court. That you have an arraignment in that case on April 15th at 8:30, and you have a secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $500. In your next case, these are new charges, and this is for Superior Court. You have 1 count of possessing or using dangerous drugs as a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a Class 6 felony. I did find that there was probable cause for these charges. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. The pretrial services was recommending for me to release you on your own recognizance, but if I did so, if you remain in custody under the cases, you would not be getting any credit. So I just set a $50 bond on this case. Okay? So if you just go to your left, you'll get your paperwork. Christian Bahar, please go to the podium. Elizabeth Sachs, please go to the chair. Hello. And could you please state your name?
Christian Behar,
Thank you. And your date of birth?
3/18/94.
All right. Now, on this case, your charges were going to be 1 count of resisting arrest as physical force as a Class 6, and then 1 count of threatening and intimidating. But I was asked to do no action on this. So I have no action because the County Attorney's Office and Avondale Police Department, Avondale intends to file charges as a misdemeanor. So we just have no release conditions exist at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
So just a release then?
Just nothing is happening at this moment. I think that they're going to immediately be doing misdemeanor charges. I have never done a no action before.
Okay, I'm confused on what's happening too.
So the court dates are still set.
Oh, so the court dates are still set?
They are still set.
So
He'll have to call and check in.
So he gets released right now?
So, yes, he's going to be released and we'll have to check in.
Okay. Okay, so, all right. My clerk knows everything better. Okay, so these court dates are, so let me tell you what the court dates are.
Okay.
Okay, so you are, right now, the charges are still there, so it's 1 count of resisting arrest, physical force, Class 6 felony, and 1 count of threatening and intimidating as a misdemeanor. So you need to, and you have a status conference set. So is it the April 16th date? Because they're both.
24th.
So it'd be the April 24th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April the 28th at 8:30 a.m. So you need to call and check.
Hold on, those were two, it was the 24th and the 28th, correct?
Yes. You're going to get it in paperwork.
Okay.
So in the court date, and the court address is also on the paperwork.
Okay.
So it's 175 West Madison Street. It's the South Tower. But you could also just double check because as I've been told, that there's no action, that they're not planning on filing any felony charges.
Okay.
Okay? I was just discussing it. I just talked to the prosecutor.
Okay. So
just call, but at this moment, do not, these these court dates are in, you know, you need to make
So
out.
just show up to court then? Just show up to the court?
Yes, show up to court. You know, absolutely, just always show up to court.
Just show up to court, all right.
Always show up to court. If they can tell you you can leave, then that's the best
So
thing.
you said the 24th and the 28th, correct?
Yes, you're gonna get the paperwork right now.
All right. Are you done with me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Because I'm like, I was telling you, I'm kind of turning, aren't you the one who tells me this, what this thing is?
Raymond Calderon, please go to the chair. Thank you. Could you please state your full name?
Elizabeth M. Sachs.
And your date of birth?
Oh, sorry. 13183, sorry.
Okay, no problem. And you have the same name and date of birth on both charges? Because I have two cases for you today. On the first one that I have with you, you are being charged with 1 count of possessing or using dangerous drugs as a Class 4 felony, 2 counts of possessing or using narcotic drugs as a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a Class 6 felony. I did find that there was probable cause for these charges. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. And you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000 in that case. On your other case, you have a warrant for violating probation. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation hearing set on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. and a secured appearance bond in the amount of $350 in that case. If you do get released, be sure to contact your probation officer within 72 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Raymond Calderon, please go to the podium. And David Kona, or Iacona, please go to the chair. Excuse me. And sir, could you please state your name?
Ramon Calderon.
Thank you. And I believe you have your could you please just state your full name?
Ramon Morales Calderon.
Okay. And your date of birth?
February 23rd, 1996.
And you have a warrant for failing to show up for court. Your charges are 1 count of discharging a firearm in the city limits as a Class 6 felony. It states that you have existing counsel. You have a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. You have a secured appearance bond that I'm affirming in the amount of $2,500. Okay, if you just go to the left, you'll get your paperwork. David Iacona, please go to the podium. Luis Ramirez, please go to the chair. Hello. And could you please state your name?
David Iacona.
Thank you. And your date of birth?
3/11/83.
Thank you. And you have a warrant for violating your probation. I am reappointing counsel. You have a probation revocation hearings set on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. And you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500. Yes, if you make bonds, just be sure to contact your probation officer within 72 hours.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just get your paperwork to the left. Luis Ramirez, please go to the podium. Thank you. Could you please state your name?
Luis Ramirez.
Thank you. Your middle name is Adrian?
Adrian.
And your date of birth?
November 20th, 1983.
Thank you. You have a warrant for failing to show up for court. And that is for 1 count of assault causing and fearing physical injury as a Class 3 felony, but it is a domestic violence offense. And this is, yes, this is still a Class 3 felony. 1 count as a Class 3 felony. I am appointing counsel. I'm appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You have a status conference set on April 16th. Oh, hold on. Was this new charges? Let me see, when did this happen? No, it happened in 2023, so this is where probable cause is already found. I am appointee counsel to represent you. Its status conference is set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. And the preliminary hearing is set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. I am setting a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500. Actually, I think I'm affirming the bond. Okay. So, one thing was that because I could tell that obviously it was assault, that means that there's a victim involved, but I couldn't tell exactly, like, if it was someone that you were living with or not. That if you do reside with the victim, you may not reside at the same location as any alleged victim. So if you do reside with the same location as the victim, you have to find alternate residence and provide proof of a new address to the court at your next court date. You will be allowed one civil standby with law enforcement officer to permit to collect your belongings. Okay?
Thank you.
So you just go to your left. That was Luis. Yeah, that was Luis Ramirez, correct? Narcissa Jones to the podium and Mark Linnell to the chair. Guess I forgot to put someone to the chair. Hello, could you please state your name?
Narcisse Jones?
I'm sorry, what?
Narcisse Jones?
Okay, and your date of birth?
1904.
All right, you have a warrant out of Moon Valley Justice Court, 1 count of criminal trespassing in the 3rd degree. If you remain in custody, you'll be appointed counsel at your next hearing. You have an arraignment set on April 15th at 8:30 a.m., and you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500.
Okay. When's the court?
It's Moon Valley Justice Court.
Where's the court?
Moon Valley.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, just go to your left. The address is on the paperwork. So if you make bond, you'll be able to, the paperwork has the address. Mark Linnell, please come to the podium. And Helena Gregory, please go to the chair. Hello, sir. Could you please state your name?
Hello. Mark Linnell.
And your date of birth?
3/14/81.
Thank you. And you have a warrant for violating your probation. I am reappointing counsel. I'm going to appoint counsel to represent you. You have a probation revocation hearing set on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. And I am affirming the bond in the amount of $250. You have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $250.
Okay. Question, I paid that. I've been incarcerated this whole time, and I paid that. I self-paid that bond, and then they brought me here. So I'm not understanding that.
I don't know if then it maybe it was for a different case.
No, it was for this, for probation violation in Maricopa. And I've been in custody this whole time in Pinal County.
Well, once you make the bond, you should be able to get released.
That's what I thought.
Unless they needed to bring you to in front of us. Yeah, when was it paid?
I paid it about a month and a half ago.
Oh, but then did you not show up for court?
I've been in custody.
After that?
I've been.
Oh, you've been in custody.
The whole time.
Oh, maybe that was what happened, was that they didn't know you were in custody, so they issued a warrant again?
I've been in custody.
I understand what you're saying.
So what happens with that money that I paid?
What you can do when you go to court, show proof that you were in custody, and then they can, release that. They can vacate their order that if they forfeited that bond.
Okay, so if I just pay $250, I can get out?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But you need to definitely to be able to vacate that forfeiture of that other bond, if that's what they did. You want to make sure that you show proof to the court that forfeited the bond.
So next time I go to court, show them proof.
Yes, that you were in custody when they forfeited that initial bond.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so. Helena Gregory, please come to the podium. And Matthew Larson, please go to the chair. Thank you. And could you please state your full name?
Helena Gregory.
Okay, and your middle name is Marie?
Maureen, yeah.
And your date of birth?
4/20/96.
Thank you. You have a arrest warrant for 1 count of taking contraband into a correction facility as a Class 2 felony, and 1 count of narcotic drug, possessing or using narcotic drug as a Class 4 felony. And I do believe that this was let me just double check. Yeah, no, it was a direct complaint. Okay, but this is a direct complaint that the incident happened in January 9th of 2023. So probable cause is already found. I am appointed counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. And I am affirming the secured appearance bond in the amount of $250.
Okay.
Okay? If you just go to the left, you'll get your paperwork.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Matthew Larson, please go to the podium. Lindsay Ray, please go to the chair. Thank you. Mr. Larson, you have 4 cases before me today. So we'll just go one at a time. And they all have the same name and date of birth. Just double checking. All right, we'll just go to the first one. They're 19, 20, and 20, 19, 20, 21, and 22 on the docket. So we'll start with number 19. Could you please state your name?
Matthew Chase Larson, August 25th, 1982.
Okay. And as I said, they all have the same name and date of birth, just for the record. And then this one is a warrant for violating your probation. You have existing counsel. You have probation revocation hearings set on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. And in this case, you have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $250. On the next case, it is a warrant for violating your probation. You have existing counsel. You have probation revocation hearings set on the same date and time, April 17th at 8:30 a.m., and a secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000. On the next one is a warrant for violating probation. You have existing counsel. You have the probation revocation hearings set on the same date and time, April 17th at 8:30 a.m., with a secured appearance bond in the amount of $250. And on the last case, it is a warrant for violating probation. Again, existing counsel. And you have a probation revocation hearing set on the same date and time, April 17th at 8:30 a.m. And your secured appearance bond in this case is for $500. If you do get released, on all of them you have probation, so you need to contact your probation officer within 72 hours. Okay?
Thanks.
You're welcome. Lindsay Ray, please go to the podium. David Engelhart, please go to the chair. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, and you have 2 cases before me today. On the first one, you have an arrest warrant out for Superior Court. And this one, I believe, is a direct complaint. So that probable cause has already been determined, and it is for 2 counts of taking contraband into a correction facility as a Class 2 felony, and 1 count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a Class 6 felony. The offense dates are October the 27th, 2022. I am appointing counsel to represent you. You have a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. You have a secured appearance bond. Oh, actually, I thought that was a grand jury. Here, let me just double check. I thought that was a grand jury thing. I need to just change my. Oh, that's a direct complaint. not a grand jury. Okay. So I need to edit my comments. Sorry. I just re-signed it. Okay, but I'm keeping everything the same except I just changed my comments. I just took them out. But I'm affirming the bond amount of $200. So everything else is the same. You have a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. and the bond amount is $200. On your next case, it is a warrant out of Justice Court, out of West Mesa Justice Court. It is for one count of possessing or using drug paraphernalia as a misdemeanor. If you remain in custody, you'll be appointed counsel at your next hearing. You have an arraignment set on April 15th at 8:30 a.m. and you have the secured appearance bond in that case in the amount of $500.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. David Engelhardt, please go to the podium. Hello. Could you please state your name?
David L. Engelhardt,
All right, and your date of birth?
February 8, 1968.
All right, and you have a warrant out of Moon Valley Justice Court. It is for one count of driving with a suspended license, suspended, revoked, or canceled license as a Class 1 misdemeanor. And you are remain in custody. You'll be appointed counsel at your next hearing. You have an arraignment we have an arraignment set on April 15th at 8:30 a.m. You get the secured appearance bond in the amount of $602. It was very specific, and I just affirmed the bond. So if you just go to your left, you'll get your paperwork.
Okay.
Michael Patton, please come to the podium. And Juan Chavez, please go to the chair. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Could you please state your name?
Michael Patton,
All right, and your date of birth?
9/14/1971.
Okay, and you have a warrant for failing to show up for court.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was for one count of possessing or using dangerous drugs as a Class 4 felony. I am reappointing counsel to represent you.
Yes, ma'am.
You have your next court date will be for a status conference post-warrant on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. You have a cash-only appearance bond in the amount of $500. Okay.
Can't lower the bond, ma'am?
I'm just going to affirm their bond. And it was specifically cash only, and they don't always set it for cash only, so I'm just going to affirm that.
Thank you.
Juan Chavez, please come to the podium. Oh, is this an interpreter case? Okay. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Hello, my name is Pablo, a Lion Bridge Spanish interpreter, ID 8173. How can I assist you?
Oh, thank you.
Just one moment and we'll have you translate. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Could you please state your full name?
Por favor, ¿puede decir su nombre completo?
Juan Ramiro Altamirano Chávez.
¿Perdón?
Juan Ramiro Altamirano Chávez.
Juan Ramiro Altamirano Chávez.
And sir, and what's your date of birth?
¿Y su fecha de nacimiento?
Es del 26 de octubre del 1988.
October 26, 1988.
Okay. I have two cases before me today.
Tengo dos casos frente a mí hoy.
The first one is for a warrant for violating your probation.
El primero es con respecto a su libertad condicional.
I am appointing counsel to represent you.
Estoy indicando a que lo represente.
You have a probation revocation hearing set on April 17th at 8:30 a.m.
Tiene la audiencia de la libertad condicional para el 17 de abril a las 8:30 a.m.
and a secured appearance bond in the amount of $250.
Y debe pagar una fianza por $250.
On your other case,
En su otro caso,
it is also for a warrant for violating your probation.
también es para una búsqueda por su libertad condicional.
I'm also appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you.
Y también estoy indicando que alguien de la oficina le represente.
You have a probation revocation hearing set on the same date and time in this case as well.
La audiencia para este caso será a la misma hora y día que el anterior,
April 17th at 8:30 a.m.
17 de abril a las 8:30 a.m.
You have a secured appearance bond in this case for the amount of $5,000.
Y la fianza asegurada para este caso será de $5,000.
If you're able to be released, be sure to contact your probation officer within 72 hours.
Si a usted se le libera, debe de contactar a su oficial de fianza dentro de 72 horas.
Okay. And just need to get to the left and you'll get your paperwork.
Oh, ¿puedo decir algo?
Puede ir a su izquierda y le darán sus documentos. Can I say something?
Yes.
No me presenté a la audiencia porque me restó inmigración, me pusieron hold de inmigración, por eso no me pude presentar.
I was not able to show up to the hearing because migration arrested me.
Oh. I'm very sorry. Can talk to your attorney about everything.
Okay, thank you.
Lo lamento, puede hablar con su abogado acerca de todo eso.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Interpreter. That was our only Spanish matter.
You're welcome. Thank you for your services. Have a good day.
Yes, thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome.
Then and for the record, we have only one matter that needs to be a house call. He was not brought over for behavioral issues. Name is Jordan James Hughes, date of birth April 7th, 1992. He is being charged with 1 count of criminal trespassing in the first degree as a Class 6 felony, 1 count of disobeying or resisting order of a mandate of a court as a Class 1 misdemeanor. There was probable cause found, or I found probable cause. I am appointing counsel to represent him. His status conference is set on April 24th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 28th at 8:30 a.m. and I am releasing him on pretrial services. I will go back and do his initial appearance at a cell. If there are any changes, I will come back and put it on the record. The 8 o'clock calendar is adjourned.
Here, it is.
Back on the 8 o'clock docket, number 15, Jordan James Hughes, date of birth April 7th, 1992. I did go back to his cell. I was going to release him on pretrial services. However, my order was that he cannot go back to the protected address, and he was adamant that he was going to go back there, and he kept pounding on the door, and was that he absolutely could go back there, even though I was informing him that he could not. I therefore informed him that I was changing his release orders from pretrial services to a secured appearance bond in the amount of $5,000 because I'm afraid for that family. I am changing his release conditions, and so again, his name is Jordan James Hughes, date of birth April 7th, 1992. The charges are 1 count of criminal trespassing in the first degree, class 6 felony, 1 count of disobeying and resisting order of mandate of court, class 1 misdemeanor. I am appointing counsel to represent him. He has a status conference set on April 16th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing set on April 18th at 8:30 a.m. He has a secured appearance bond in the amount of $5,000. I did already inform him of this information. We are now adjourned. Thank you. You may be seated. Officers, can I have you bring Jeffrey Box right here? Yes. Thank you. I'm trying to. Jeffrey Box. He's the one that's going to need the sign language interpreter.
Oh, okay.
Good evening. This is the time set for the 11 p.m. calendar on April 10th, 2025. The court's orders for the taking of DNA and fingerprints that were given on the first calendar of this month shall apply to all matters on this calendar. I'm going to provide a name to start at the podium and a second name to sit in the chair outside of this room. We already have Jeffrey Box at the podium. If we could have Gilbert Torres Estrada to the chair. Good morning, Mr. Box. Can I get your, or good evening, can I get your name and date of birth?
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't have mute on. I had my mute on. Jeffrey Box, July 29th, 1982.
Thank you, sir. It does look like we are here on two cases. They are both probation violation warrants with allegations you violated terms 3, 4, and 5. I will appoint an attorney to represent you, and you will have a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30.
Okay, good.
You have a secured appearance bond of $350 between the two cases.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I prefer to stay in the jail. I have a room.
If you do post that bond, you do have conditions of release, and you will need to contact your probation officer within 72 hours. Did you have any questions for me, sir?
Nope, I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. Box. If you'll step to your left, they'll give you that paperwork.
Thanks.
Okay, I think that concludes our only interpreter matter this evening. I appreciate your assistance.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Bye.
I'm sorry. Oh, the whole screen went off. Okay. All right. If we could have Mr. Torres Estrada to the podium. And Angelina Shiramonte to the chair. Good evening, sir. Could I get your name and date of birth?
My name is Gilbert Torres, June 2nd, 2004.
Thank you, sir. It does look like we have two cases on the calendar here this evening. The first one is a new Superior Court case. It does include one count of aggravated DUI, a Class 4 felony, one count of DUI, a Class 1 misdemeanor, one count of a minor driving after drinking, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and one count of an open container in a vehicle, a Class 2 misdemeanor. Probable cause has been found, and I'm appointing an attorney to represent you. You're going to have a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30.
You have a secured appearance bond of $2,500 in this case. You have a second case on the calendar, and that's because you're currently on probation. So when you were picked up for this new offense, that is a Term 1 violation of that probation case. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you in that case as well, and you'll have a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30, and you have a secured appearance bond of $500 in that case. So between your two cases, it's a total of $3,000. If bond is posted, you have written conditions of release you need to comply with, and it will include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. Between the two cases, you have 3 hearings coming up, 3 days in a row in the downtown Superior Courthouse. Date, time, and location will be listed in your paperwork. Did you have any questions for me, sir?
No, thank you.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you that paperwork. Thank you. Angelina Shiramonte to the podium and Corbin Marshall to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Angelina Shiramonte, 5/20/03.
Thank you, ma'am. It does look like you are here on a probation violation warrant. They've alleged you violated terms 3, 4, 5, and 15 of your probation. I'll appoint an attorney to represent you. You'll have a status conference April 17th at 8:30, and you have a secured appearance bond of $2,500. If bond is posted, you have written conditions of release. It will include contacting your probation officer within 24 hours. Dates, times, and location of that hearing will be in your paperwork. Did you have any questions? Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you that paperwork, ma'am. Corbin Marshall to the podium and Bobby Shout to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Corbin Marshall, 10/7/89.
Thank you, sir. It does look like we have 2 cases on the calendar. The first one is a grand jury warrant with an offense date of April 8th, 2020 for 1 count of armed robbery with a deadly weapon, a Class 2 felony, and 1 count of aggravated robbery, a Class 3 felony. I will appoint an attorney to represent you and set an arraignment hearing on April 17th at 8:30. I am affirming the secured appearance bond of $1,500 in that case. You also have a direct complaint on the calendar, and that is for an offense date of April 5th, 2015, and that is for 2 counts of burglary in the 3rd degree, a Class 4 felony. I will also appoint counsel in this case, and you'll have a status conference April 16th at 8:30, and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30. In this case, you have a secured appearance bond of $1,800. Between the 2 cases, it's a total secured appearance bond of $2,300. If you post bond, you'll have written conditions of release you need to comply with. It will include not returning to the scene of any alleged crimes, no contact with any alleged victims, and you may not possess any weapons. All of that will be in your paperwork. Did you have any questions?
No.
Thank you, sir. If you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork. Bobby Shout to the podium, and then next we will have Jeremy Wilson. Good evening, sir. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Bobby Shout, 7/23/91.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we are here on a direct complaint that was filed for an offense date of October 24th, 2020. It does include 2 counts of aggravated DUI, a Class 4 felony. I will appoint an attorney to represent you and set a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30.
Okay.
You have a cash-only appearance bond of $2,000. If bond is posted, you have written conditions of release you need to comply with, and then you need to ensure you attend those hearings. Did you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, if you'll step to your left, I'll give you your paperwork. Thank you, sir. If I could have Jeremy Wilson to the podium and Gianna Smith to the chair, please. Good evening, sir. Could I get your name and date of birth?
It's Jeremy Wilson, 06/17/1979.
Thank you, sir. And counsel, could I get your name for the record?
Yes, it's Philip Wilson, Your Honor. And that's not a coincidence. In addition to being his attorney, I'm his older brother.
Okay.
So, full candor to the court.
Thank you for being here. And do we have the state on the line?
Yes, Your Honor. George Kellerman from the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Good evening.
Thank you, everyone. It looks like we're here today on a grand jury warrant.
and it's for an offense date of September 1st, 2023. It does include 1 count of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, a Class 4 felony, and 2 counts of dangerous drug possession, a Class 4 felony. Because Mr. Wilson has entered his appearance for all future hearings, I'm not going to appoint counsel today. I'll go ahead and list that you have hired your own attorney. I am going to set an arraignment hearing in the downtown Superior Courthouse on Madison Street on April 17th at 8:30 a.m. Next, we will discuss release conditions. Mr. Kellerman, would you like to put the state's recommendation on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would request that the initial appearance court affirm the grand jury warrant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kellerman. And Mr. Wilson?
Yes, Your Honor. Don't want to take too much of your time. I realize you have a full schedule here this evening, but we would like to be heard on Mr. Wilson's release, either on his own cognizance between now and the April 17th hearing, or if not that, a third-party release where I would vouch for his appearance at the next hearing. If Your Honor would like us to be heard on that matter, I'd be happy to make the case, or however Your Honor would like to proceed.
So I'm open to hearing what you have to say. My concern is, as you know, because this is a grand jury warrant, I don't have any information other than the charges, and the person who did hear this recommended and ordered a $1,500 secured appearance bond. And so because I lack any information and the person who did have that information felt like it was appropriate, I am inclined to affirm that bond. But again, Mr. Wilson, I'll give you that opportunity if you would like to put anything additional on the record.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And without going too much into the substance of the case, our position is, on the merits of this, before we get too far down the road here, Mr. Wilson will be removed from this case. It appears to us that this is a stolen identity situation. The Jeremy Wilson subject to the grand jury warrant is not this Jeremy Wilson. There were some discrepancies at the time of his arrest today. The officers asked if he'd ever been known by the name Keith. He has not. I understand the middle name in the warrant does not match Anthony Wilson, which is Mr. Wilson's middle name. And the license that the officers were referred to check for his identity was a Texas driver's license. Mr. Wilson carries an Arizona driver's license. So there's a number of discrepancies that sort of affirm our position that it is not the same Jeremy Wilson. So with that as context, I also want to address the reasons why he is not a flight risk and it is appropriate to release him without a bond. Mr. Wilson's lived in Arizona for 39 years, has not lived anywhere else since moving to Arizona in 1986. He's a stable individual. He's lived at the same residence for 11 years. He's a business owner, owns his own business, and through that business employs a number of other individuals who perform services for him. He's basically a subcontractor that works for a lot of high-end home builders in the Valley. In fact, he was headed to a job today when he was pulled over for speeding. And that was the only incident that led to his arrest today. He was speeding in the town of Carefree. There was no victim involved at the time of the arrest today, no drugs in the vehicle, no firearms in the vehicle. He's never used drugs or even possessed a firearm. He's got family connections to the Valley, myself, his nephew, other individuals. He's got no residence outside of Arizona, no business outside of Arizona, nothing that would cause him to leave the state or want to leave the state. In fact, remaining employed and appearing at the jobs that he has lined up is all the more reason why he's not going to leave Arizona. This is the only source of income for him. He's represented by counsel. I think that's evidence that he's tied into this process and committed to seeing this through. Also because our position is that this is not the Jeremy Wilson. He's very motivated to clear his name, and to do that, he's got to be involved in this process. So that counsels against him leaving the state or not appearing at his next court appearance. So with that, Your Honor, I think that's all we have for your consideration. And like I said, we'd ask preferably that he be released in his own cognizance or in the alternative third-party release.
Thank you, counsel. And I'm just taking a look at some of the information. Did you get a copy of the grand jury warrant? Did you review that?
I have not, Your Honor. I haven't been provided anything. When he was arrested this morning, I figured they would release him after fingerprinting him and comparing the fingerprints to the individual who's the subject of the warrant. They'd figure out they have the wrong guy. But the individuals I've spoke with today, from what I've been able to determine, that comparison hasn't been made yet.
Okay. So. And sir, were you fingerprinted today?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Is there any way to tell if it matches? Is there a way to tell if they've matched the fingerprints to this warrant? I'm going to have her look at that for a second. So it does say Jeremy Keith Wilson, AKA Jeremy Anthony Wilson. Have you ever resided in Texas?
No.
I'm going to do something a little unusual, but Counsel, can you write down the last 4 digits of your client's Social Security number?
Sure. What is it?
4658. Oh, like your phone. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, we're trying to work to see if they can tell us if these fingerprints have matched. So we're trying to get a hold of somebody. That might take us just a moment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
While she's working on that, Counsel, are you aware of any convicted, does he have any felony convictions that would make him a prohibited possessor?
No, Your Honor. The only criminal charge or conviction on his record is a DUI from 21 years ago that was reduced to a reckless driving conviction.
And then can I see the sheet? They wrote down something for me. No, that's what I needed. I wanted the last 4 digits. So they haven't cross-referenced the fingerprints yet, so I don't have access to that information. Now let's see in the information they did send. The last 4 digits of the Social Security number they have on the grand jury warrant does match.
Yes, I understand from speaking to the police officers this morning that there was enough matches that justified them arresting him or not letting him go at the time. And that's why we thought it was maybe a matter of a stolen identity, not just a coincidence that we have 2 Jeremy Wilsons because of the Social Security number usage.
Right. Okay. Did they happen to say a timeline? 30 minutes? Okay. Could you guys stand by for 30 minutes while we wait for that verification? Would that be okay, Counsel?
No, that'd be more than okay, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And if you just want to sit in that room with your client, we'll recall this case soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Can I have Gianna? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Kellerman. Sorry, I forgot I had you on the line. We're going to take a quick 30-minute recess on this case and wait to get that fingerprint back, okay?
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Kellerman. All right, Gianna Smith to the podium and Abraham Cuevas to the chair. Good evening, ma'am. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Gianna Smith, 06/24/2005.
Thank you, ma'am. It does look like we are here on a couple of cases. The first one's a new Superior Court case. It does include 1 count of theft control of property, a Class 6 felony, 1 count of dangerous drug possession, a Class 6 felony, 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, and 1 count of shoplifting concealment. In this case, for purposes of today's hearing only, I am not finding probable cause as to the dangerous drug. It looks like based on the substance that was tested, it may have been a narcotic drug under Arizona law and not a dangerous drug. So I'm not finding probable cause for that, but I am finding probable cause for the other 3 counts. I will appoint an attorney to represent you and set a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30. In this case, you have a secured appearance bond of $1,500. It does look like you're also on probation. So when you were picked up for this offense, that is a term 1 violation of your probation. So I'll appoint an attorney to represent you and set a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30, and you have a secured appearance bond of $50 in that case. So between the 2 cases, it's a total of $1,550. If you post that bond, you'll have written conditions of release you'll need to comply with. It will include not returning to the scene of the alleged crime, no contact with any alleged victims, complainants, or witnesses, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours. Did you have any questions, ma'am?
No, ma'am, that sounds perfect.
Thank you, ma'am. If you'll step to your left, we'll give you that paperwork.
Thank you.
Abraham Cuevas to the podium and Alex Tashquinas to the chair. Good evening, sir. Could I get your name and date of birth?
It's Abraham Ortiz Cuevas, 12/26/2002.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like you're here on 2 failure to appear warrants. I will affirm the attorneys that were previously appointed to represent you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to set a hearing on April 17th at 8:30, and that does apply to both cases.
Yes.
You have a secured appearance bond of $1,000 on one case and $250 on the other, for a total of $1,250. If you post that bond, you have written conditions of release to include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. And do you have a Department of Corrections hold?
Yes.
Okay.
I just came from there, sorry.
All right. So do you still have time to serve at Department of Corrections?
June 3rd is my...
June 3rd. Okay. So I would hold off on posting bond on
Yeah.
this case until you see your attorney and have that hearing April 17th, because you won't be released. You'll just be taken back to the Department of Corrections.
No worries.
So make sure you make it to that hearing, talk to your attorney about how you're going to move forward with this case. And again, if you do somehow end up posting bond and you're out, make sure you attend them to avoid any future failure to appear warrants.
Okay.
Because then you will lose the bond that you post as well.
Okay.
Okay? Any
Sounds
questions?
good. No, ma'am.
All right, if you'll step to your left, I'll give you that paperwork. Thank you, sir.
Ma'am.
Alex to the podium and Raymond Coronado to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Alex Tashwin, 12180.
Thank you, sir. It does look like you are here on a probation violation warrant, and it looks like they've alleged you violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I'll appoint an attorney to represent you and set a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $1,250. If you post that bond, you have written conditions of release to include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. All of that will be in your paperwork. Did you have any questions, sir?
No.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, I'll give you that paperwork. Raymond Coronado to the podium and Santos Castaneda to the chair. Good evening. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Raymond Joseph Coronado, 10/22/93.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we have 2 cases on the calendar, and they're both failure to appear bench warrants that were issued for you. I will affirm the attorney that was previously appointed to represent you.
Yeah.
And you'll have a hearing on April 16th at 8:30. That date and time applies to both cases. You have a secured appearance bond of $500. Oh, excuse me. You have a cash appearance bond on these cases of $500 for a total of $1,000. So $500 on each case. If you post that bond, you have written conditions of release you need to comply with, and you need to ensure you attend those hearings to avoid a future failure to appear warrant and forfeiture of that bond.
They're cash only.
Excuse me, yeah, it looks like the warrants, when they were issued, the judge issued cash-only bonds. So that you wouldn't be able to use a bail bonding company. You would have to post $1,000.
Just 1,000 cash?
Correct.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, the step to your left. Thank you, sir. Santos Castaneda to the podium and Joshua Rush to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Yes, my name is Santos Castaneda. My birth date is July 6, 1970.
Can you say your date of birth again?
July 6, 1970. They have it incorrect on my paperwork.
Okay. I'm just trying to take a look
Okay.
to make sure we have the right case here, because I have you for 2 cases, but again, I have a different date of birth. So let's see.
Yeah.
Do you have a Department of Correction hold?
Yes,
Did you come from the Department of Correction?
yes.
Have you ever gone by another middle name?
Just Everardo.
Okay. Have you ever gone by the date of birth of June 15th, 1972?
No.
Are you currently on probation?
As of right now, I'm not too sure. I think I might be out of Maricopa County.
Okay. And were you in Alhambra?
Yes.
So it looks like everything but your date of birth seems to match. What this is showing me is that you're on probation, and it looks like it's for a case that was in 2017.
Yes.
Yeah. And they alleged you violated Term 1. And then your other case is a new filing for an offense date of April 11th, 2024 for a dangerous drug offense, a Class 4 felony. But since the Department of Corrections has a hold, you wouldn't be released even if you posted these bonds.
Right.
So I'm going to affirm everything. If you believe it's a mistaken identity, talk to your attorney about that. I don't recommend posting these bonds because, again, you have a Department of Corrections hold and they'll take you back there anyways. But I will appoint an attorney in each case. You're going to have a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $500 in that case. And then on the new charges, you'll have a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30 with a secured appearance bond of $50. So your bond is $550. But again, hold off on posting any of that until you know what's going to happen.
Okay.
And you're done with your Department of Corrections.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir. If you'll step to your left, I'll give you that paperwork.
Thank you.
Joshua Rush to the podium and Stephanie White to the chair. Good evening. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Joshua Rush, 09011988.
Thank you so much. It does look like you are here on a failure to appear bench warrant that was issued for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I will affirm the attorney previously appointed to represent you.
Thank you.
You'll have a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30. Are you here on anything else?
No, ma'am.
And do you have a Department of Corrections hold as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you have a secured appearance bond of $500. You probably heard me tell the other people I wouldn't recommend posting it. You're not going to be released. Department of Corrections will pick you up. Make sure you talk to your attorney at your next hearing and kind of discuss what you're going to do moving forward, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork. Thank you, sir. Stephanie White to the podium and Nick Talamantes to the chair. Good evening. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Oh, Stephanie White, 9/13/86.
Thank you, ma'am. It does look like you are here on a probation violation warrant with allegations you violated terms 3, 4, 5, and 15. I'll appoint an attorney to represent you and set a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $500. If that bond is posted, you have written conditions of release to include contacting your probation officer within 24 hours. All of that will be in your paperwork. Did you have any questions? If you'll step to your left, I'll give you that paperwork, ma'am. Thank you. Nick Talamentes to the podium and Elizabeth Farrow to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Your Honor, it's Nicholas Telemontes Jr., 12/16/1988.
Thank you, sir. It does look like you are here on a failure to appear bench warrant that was issued for you. I will affirm the attorney previously appointed to represent you and set a status conference April 16th at 8:30. In this case, you have a secured appearance bond of $500. If that bond is posted, you have written conditions of release you need to comply with. You need to ensure you attend that hearing to avoid a future failure to appear warrant and forfeiture of any bond that you may post. Did you have any questions, sir?
No.
All right. If you'll step to your left, I'll give you that paperwork.
Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth Farrow to the podium. Alicia Enos to the chair. Good evening. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Elizabeth Ann Farrow on April 5th, 1994.
Thank you, ma'am. It does look like you are here on a probation violation warrant. They've alleged you violated terms 6, 7, 12, 15, and 22. I will appoint an attorney to represent you and set a probation revocation hearing on April 17th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $500. If bond is posted, you have written conditions of release. It will include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. All of that will be in your paperwork. Did you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. If you'll step to your left, they'll give you that paperwork. Alicia Enos to the podium and Jacqueline Delaguaya to the chair. Good evening, ma'am. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Alicia Enos, 2393.
Thank you. It does look like you are here on a probation violation warrant with allegations you violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I'll appoint an attorney to represent you and set a status conference, a probation revocation hearing, April 17th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $250. If that bond is posted, you have written conditions of release you need to comply with. It will include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. Did you have any questions? Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you that paperwork, ma'am. Jacqueline Falaguaya to the podium and Reginio Valenzuela to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Jacqueline Falaguaya, 6589.
Thank you so much. And it does look like you are here on a probation violation. They've alleged you violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I'll appoint an attorney to represent you, and you'll have a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $250. If bond is posted, you have written conditions of release. It will include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. Did you have any questions?
Nope.
Thank you. If you'll step to your left, I'll give you that paperwork. Mr. Valenzuela to the podium and Mr. Robinson to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Regino Valenzuela, 7892.
Do you mind repeating your name?
Regino Valenzuela?
Thank you. It looks like you're here on a justice court warrant coming out of the Kyrene Justice Court. It looks like it's for a failure to pay some fines related to an assault charge in 2023. Due to the nature of your charges, you're not entitled to court-appointed counsel, but you can hire an attorney at your own expense if you would like to. I'm going to set an arraignment hearing in the Kyrene Justice Court on April 30th at 9:30 a.m. I'm releasing you today on your own recognizance that you're promised to appear at that hearing. If it is, in fact, just a failure to pay, you may want to call them. I've included the number in your release conditions to see if you can get that taken care of. Maybe they will vacate that hearing. But if they don't, make sure you go to that hearing so you don't get a failure to appear warrant as well, okay? Yeah. Any questions?
No.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Robinson to the podium and Ms. Valdez to the chair.
Robinson?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Can I get your name and date of birth?
Jared Robinson, 5/11/1996.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like you're here on a justice court warrant, and it looks like it relates to failing to appear at a hearing on April 2nd, 2025, related to a DUI from 2021. I will appoint an attorney to represent you, and I'm going to set an arraignment hearing in the Arcadia Biltmore Justice Court. That hearing will be April 30th at 1 p.m. I'm going to release you today on your own recognizance that you're promised to appear at that hearing. You have written conditions of release you need to comply with, and then you need to ensure you attend that hearing. All of that information will be in your paperwork. Did you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you that paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Valdez to the podium and Ms. Gallegos to the chair. Good evening. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Nayeli Valdez, April 19, 1993.
Looks like you're here on a probation violation warrant with allegations you violated terms 3 of your probation. I'm going to appoint an attorney and set a probation revocation hearing April 17th at 8:30. I'm releasing you today on your own recognizance. That's your promise to appear at that hearing. You have written conditions of release you need to comply with. It will include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Did you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, just step to your left. They'll give you that paperwork. Ms. Gallegos to the podium. I'm going to recall the other case first. I'm going to recall the other case first before we do the Spanish. Good evening. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Tiffany Gallegos, 688.
Thank you, ma'am. It does look like you are here on a new Superior Court case for 1 count of dangerous drug violation, a Class 4 felony. Probable cause is not being found tonight, and the reason for that is the substance that was located has not been tested, and so I don't know what that substance is, and so for purposes of this hearing only, I am not finding probable cause. However, I'm still going to appoint an attorney and give you some hearing dates because although I'm not finding probable cause tonight, it doesn't mean that they aren't going to test the substance and move forward with the charges, okay?
Yes,
So you're going to have a status conference April 24th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 28th at 8:30, okay? Again, please make sure you go to those hearings because you still could risk getting a failure to appear warrant if you don't show up, even though I'm not finding probable cause tonight, okay? All right, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you that paperwork.
Is there any bond or anything, or?
Because I'm not finding probable cause, there is no bond. You will be processed and released.
Thank you so much.
Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wilson, if you would like to come back to the podium, please. And Mr. Kellerman, are you still there? Thank you guys for waiting. We're going to go ahead and recall Jeremy Wilson, date of birth June 17th, 1979. So I did get information indicating that the fingerprints match the warrant.
Really?
Yes. So that is the information that's being provided.
Okay.
So with that, I am going to affirm the secured appearance bond of $1,500 in this case. If that bond is posted, you will have written conditions of release you'll need to comply with, and then you'll need to ensure you attend that hearing on April 17th at 8:30. And of course, I know you're alleging this is, misidentification. I'm sure council will look into that and move forward with that information on April 17th. But unfortunately, for the information I have tonight, everything they've provided has indicated it is matching.
Even with he has no history of not complying with the legal process. appeared for every court appearance under that DUI that he had. The fact that it got reduced to a reckless driving sort of establishes his compliance with legal proceedings and requirements in the past.
Let me take a look at that.
Okay. I've never purchased a weapon.
What state were you born in, sir?
I was born in France.
Okay.
Also have a green card that we can. This is crazy. How? I have some tickets. 2023. What if we got my name or something? We have to see the file.
I'm just taking a look at the criminal history that I have. It does look like there was a misdemeanor conviction in 2010 for driving with a suspended license, it looks like. Does that sound accurate?
In 2010.
In Scottsdale. It looks like essentially any conviction you have are all related to driving.
Yeah.
It notates that there was one failure to appear at one point. Looks like that was in 2008 on a Scottsdale, Arizona issue, again, related to driving with a license that was suspended. I don't see any felony convictions on here. The height and weight is close, but not exact. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release you to pretrial services. You're still going to have to attend some hearings. The arraignment date is not going to change. It will stay the same. And then hopefully, if this is in fact a case of mistaken identity, you can get this worked out. But everything will remain the same, but I'll take the bond off. I'll release you to pretrial services. It's going to take a handful of hours to get processed out. They'll give you paperwork, date, time, location. Counsel will also get a copy of that. Make sure you attend that hearing, and hopefully you guys can get something worked out on this, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Appreciate
counsel.
it.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. If you'll take a seat out there, Mr. Wilson, they'll give you your paperwork. Okay, thank you.
Here we go. I may go.
And thank you again, Mr. Kellerman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Your Honor. It was educational.
And unless, I don't think you're appearing on anything else, feel free to stay on the line, but also feel free to disconnect at your convenience.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you, counsel. Good evening. Do we have an interpreter on the line?
Yes, ma'am. This is interpreter number 2124.
Thank you, ma'am. Could we call Mr. Rafael Rodriguez to the podium, please? Good evening, sir. Could I please get your name and date of birth?
This is 10/25/75. Rafael Valencia Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, do you need an interpreter?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm going to have the interpreter interpret. We'll start over and then just wait for her to interpret it into Spanish, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll go ahead and start over. Can I please get your name and date of birth?
Bueno, buenas noches. Yo seré su intérprete de inglés. Interpretaré todo lo que se diga. ¿Me permite, por favor, su nombre y su fecha de nacimiento, por favor?
10/25/75, Rafael Valencia Rodríguez.
Gracias. Dijo que 10/25 del 75.
Sí.
Okay, 10/25/1975, and it's Rafael Valencia Rodriguez.
Thank you, sir. It does look like we're here today on a failure to appear bench warrant.
Bueno, muchas gracias, señor. Entonces parece ser que estamos aquí el día de hoy, ¿verdad? Porque usted no se presentó en lo que es una orden de arresto, señor.
I will affirm the attorney previously appointed to represent you.
Entonces yo voy a continuar, ¿verdad? De que el abogado que usted lo está representando, que lo siga representando.
You have a status conference April 16th at 8:30.
Entonces tiene usted una comparecencia de estatus el día 16 de abril a las 8:30 de la mañana.
And a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30.
Y después lo que es una audiencia preliminaria el día 18 de abril a las 8:30 de la mañana.
You have a secured appearance bond of $500.
Tiene usted, ¿verdad? Lo que es una fianza con asegurada de aparecer de $500.
According to my records, there is an ICE hold for you.
Entonces, según aquí nuestros registros, hay una detención para usted, señor, por parte de ICE.
So I would hold off on posting any bond because you won't be released.
Entonces, no vaya usted, ¿verdad?, a seguir adelante con ninguna fianza, señor, porque usted no va a ser liberado.
I would talk to your attorney at the next hearing on April 16th.
Entonces, puede usted hablar con su abogado en la próxima audiencia que va a tener usted, que es el 16 de abril.
Did you have any questions, sir?
¿Alguna pregunta que tenga usted, señor?
Sí, pues sí, ¿voy a ser liberado ahorita o hasta la otra corte?
So, am I going to be released now or until the other court hearing?
You won't be released today.
No, señor, usted no va a ser liberado el día de hoy.
And I don't know if you'll be released at the next hearing, so I would discuss that with your attorney.
Entonces yo tampoco no sé si usted va a ser liberado en la próxima cita que tenga usted, así por eso le comento que es mejor que hable usted con su abogado.
If you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork, sir.
Ahora, si hace usted, se hace a un lado, señora, a su mano izquierda, le van a entregar sus documentos.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, ma'am, for assisting this evening. I believe that is our only Spanish interpreter case on this calendar.
Okay, you're welcome. If nothing further, interpreter will disconnect, and thank you for calling Lionbridge for your language needs. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. And can we clear the courtroom for our next one? Thank you.
The interpreter has disconnected. To reconnect with your interpreter, press.
All right, if we can have William Henson to the podium. Good evening, sir. Could I get your name and date of birth?
I'm sorry, I could hear you great, so I got here.
Can I get your name and date of birth?
Yeah, William Victor Henson, 2361.
Thank you, sir. It does look like we have 3 cases on the calendar. Looks like, let's just take a look. Looks like they're all failure to appear hearings. Looks like you missed some hearings for 3 different cases. I'll affirm the attorney previously appointed to represent you. And you're going to have a probation revocation hearing on April 17th at 8:30, and that's for 2 of the 3 cases. And then you'll also have a status conference for the 3rd case, but they'll all take place on April 17th at 8:30. It's the same date and time for all 3 cases.
Okay.
It does look like you have a cash-only bond of $5,000 in one case and $1,000 in each of the other cases for a total of $7,000. If you post those bonds, you'll have written conditions of release you'll need to comply with. and you'll need to ensure you attend that hearing in order to avoid a failure to appear warrant again and forfeiture of that bond.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, I'm also in, DOC. I'm here from,
Oh, so you have a Department of Correction hold as well?
I'm in there right now, yeah.
Okay.
They took me out of there to come back here, so
Okay.
I get to get it cleared up.
Do both of them? Okay.
Yeah.
If you have a Department of Correction hold, I wouldn't recommend posting it because they're not going to release you.
Yeah, no.
So we'll leave the bonds there, and then you can talk to your counsel when you meet with them on April 17th, and hopefully you can get all these cases resolved.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If you'll step to your left, I'll give you that paperwork.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks. Case number 2, Xavier Guzman will proceed as a house call due to being combative. Date of birth, May 28, 1996. He does have 4 cases on the calendar. It does look like we have 1 failure to appear warrant. I will affirm the attorney that was appointed in that case and set a a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30. He has a secured appearance bond of $500 in that case. He has 3 probation violation warrants. And I will appoint counsel in those cases and set a probation revocation hearing on April 17th at 8:30. He has a secured appearance bond of $500 in one of those probation cases. However, he is being held non-bondable on the other 2 cases. So I wouldn't recommend posting bond at this time because he will still be held on the 2 probation cases that there is no bond being set. If anything changes after I meet with him, I will update the written record. Case number Monica Payan. Date of birth, December 26, 1989, will proceed as a house call due to not following orders. We will proceed today as a house call. We are here on a failure to appear bench warrant. I will affirm the attorney previously appointed to represent her and set a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30. We have a secured appearance bond of $1,000. If bond is posted, she'll have written conditions of release to comply with, and she'll need to ensure she attends those hearings to avoid a future failure to appear warrant and forfeiture of that bond. If anything changes after I meet with her, I will update the written record. Case number 1, Nicholas Husky, date of birth, September 24th, 1987. No, excuse me. Yes, I'm sorry. So earlier when I said Xavier Guzman was for being combative, his is for fighting, and Nicholas Husky is for being combative. We are here on a new Superior Court case. It does include 1 count of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, 1 count of criminal damage, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and 1 count of obstruction, refusal to provide true name, a Class 1 misdemeanor. Probable cause has been found, and I am appointing an attorney to represent him. He will have a status conference April 16th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing April 18th at 8:30. He has a secured appearance bond of $500. If bond is posted, he has written conditions of release he needs to comply with, and he'll need to ensure he attends those hearings. All of this information will be included in his paperwork, and if anything changes after I meet with him, I will update the written record. We will now stand in recess until the 5 a.m. calendar.